My narcissistic mother has a habit that ruined my dating life for years. She flirts with every boyfriend I bring home, like she thinks I do not deserve to have someone who chooses me. My name is Emma. I am 24 now, and this has been going on since I was about 18. It sounds unbelievable when I say it out loud, but I lived it again and again. Every time I met a decent guy, every time I started feeling hopeful, I would hit the same wall. Not the guy, not the relationship itself. My mother. Her name is Patricia. She is 52 and she looks like someone who still thinks cameras should follow her everywhere. She was a model when she was younger, and she never lets anyone forget it. Even now, she does her hair and makeup like she is going to a photo shoot every single day. She exercises like it is her religion. She buys expensive clothes like they are basic needs, and she carries herself like she is always being judged and always needs to win. If you saw her in public, you would probably think she was confident, classy, and charming. People fall for her fast. She smiles, they smile back. She compliments someone, they melt. She laughs, the room gets lighter. She can be very warm when she wants to be. That is part of the problem. Because behind that shine is a person who cannot stand not being the center of attention. If someone else has attention, especially if I have attention, she acts like it is being stolen from her. She is my mother, but sometimes she behaves like I am her competition. When I was younger, I did not have the words for any of this. I just felt weird around her. I felt like I was always being measured. Like I was always failing a test I did not sign up for. She would praise me in public, then criticize me in private. She would tell people I was smart, then tell me I was not trying hard enough. She would buy me clothes, then tell me I did not wear them right. She would say she wanted me to be confident, then quietly attacked anything that made me feel good about myself. Still, I kept hoping. I kept thinking maybe it would get better when I got older, when I moved out, when I became more independent. I thought distance would fix things. But dating is when it got truly ugly. Every boyfriend I ever brought home got the same treatment. First, she would act excited like she was happy for me. Then she would start complimenting him a little too much. She would hug him too long. She would touch his arm while talking. She would laugh too loud. She would suddenly wear the tightest, boldest clothes in her closet, like she was going to a nightclub instead of a family dinner. And then she would do the worst part. She would pull him into a private little world with her. She would ask questions that looked normal on the surface but were really traps. She would find out what he liked, what he wanted, what he feared. She would mirror him, flatter him, and make him feel important. She would create this strange emotional space where he felt special because my mother, this beautiful older woman, was giving him attention. Some guys loved it. Some were uncomfortable. But either way, it changed things. After the first meeting, she would follow up. She would text. She would comment on social media. She would find excuses to talk to him directly without me. She would pretend it was about checking on me or supporting the relationship. But the tone was always off. Always too personal. Always too familiar. Then, while she was pulling him closer, she would push me away. She would plant doubts in my head about him. She would say he was not ambitious enough. Not smart enough. Not mature enough. Not man enough. She would say it like she was protecting me, like she only wanted what was best. But it never felt like protection. It felt like she wanted me to let go of him so she could feel powerful again. I tried to fight it. I tried talking to her. I tried setting boundaries. I tried being calm. I tried being angry. Nothing worked, because she did not see herself as the problem. If I complained, she would say I was insecure and jealous. If my boyfriend looked uncomfortable, she would say he was awkward. If he broke up with me, she would say it proved he was not strong enough anyway. In her mind, she was never doing anything wrong. She was just being friendly. Just being charming. Just being herself. And I was the one who could not handle it. The whole thing hit a breaking point with a guy named Tyler. Tyler was sweet. Really sweet. He worked as an elementary school teacher near my apartment. He had that gentle kind of confidence that comes from being around kids all day. He was patient, funny, and he made me feel safe. We dated for about 4 months, and I really thought he could become something serious for me. But I also knew what was coming. When Tyler started asking to meet my family, my stomach would tighten. I would make excuses. I would say we should wait. I would say my mother is a lot. He would laugh and say, I can handle it, I like you, I want to know your world. I finally agreed to a Sunday dinner. I tried to prepare myself mentally, like I was walking into a storm with an umbrella that I knew would break. The moment Tyler walked through the door, I saw it happen. My mother looked at him and I could almost see her mind switching modes. She smiled too wide. She stepped in too close. She hugged him too long. She said something like, wow, Emma, you did not tell me how handsome he was, and she said it in a voice that was not a normal mother voice. It was the voice she used when she wanted someone to feel chosen. During dinner, she asked him question after question. Where did you grow up? What do you do? Do you like sports? What kind of movies? Do you work out? What is your favorite food? Normal questions, but mixed with constant touching. Her fingers on his arm. Her hand on his shoulder. Her laugh falling into his space. I sat there watching my own mother flirt with my boyfriend like I was invisible. At one point, I went to the kitchen to get dessert. I thought maybe stepping away would calm my body down. Instead, it made it worse because I could hear her voice change even more. When I came back with a pie, Tyler looked uncomfortable. My mother looked thrilled, like she had just won something. After Tyler left, my mother cornered me. Her tone shifted. Her smile got smaller. She said he seems nice, then she added something cutting, like maybe he is a little simple for you. You could do better than an elementary school teacher. That was her pattern. First she tested him. Then she tested me. She flirted with him to see if he would respond. Then she tried to weaken my feelings so I would not fight for him if he drifted. 2 weeks later, Tyler sat with me in his living room with his phone in his hand and a look on his face that I will never forget. It was the look of someone who does not want to hurt you but knows they cannot pretend anymore. He told me my mother had been texting him. I asked what kind of texts. He showed me. At first, they looked innocent. She asked about his weekend. She shared some random article. She suggested a yoga class he might like. She suggested they grab coffee sometime. She said she wanted to talk about my happiness and make sure he was treating me right. But the messages did not feel like normal mother messages. They felt like someone trying to create a private connection. She was building a secret door between them, and once that door existed, she could step through it any time. Tyler told me he did not want to cause problems, but it felt inappropriate. He said the way she looked at him, the way she talked about us, the way she kept reaching out directly, it was too much. I apologized because that is what I always did, like I was responsible for the mess she created. He asked if it had happened before. I told him the truth. Every time. Tyler said something simple that hit hard. He said it is not normal. I knew that. I had known for years. But hearing it from someone outside, the situation felt like someone turning on the lights in a room I had been living in the dark. 3 days after that conversation, Tyler broke up with me. He said he cared about me, but he could not handle my mother. The constant texts. The attention. The pressure. The weird triangle she was forcing. It was too much, and he did not want to spend his life fighting my mother for space in my relationship. After he left, I cried for hours. I was not just crying because I lost Tyler. I was crying because I finally understood something that scared me. If I did nothing, this would keep happening. I would keep meeting good men, and my mother would keep ruining it. She would keep interfering, twisting, seducing, and controlling. I would keep ending up alone, and she would keep acting like she was just being helpful. And I started to feel a kind of panic, like my life was slipping away while she played games. That is when the fake boyfriend plan was born. I did not come up with it calmly. It came out of exhaustion and anger and desperation. I wanted a way to protect my real relationships without having to cut my mother off completely. I wanted her to finally feel what she was doing. I wanted her to face the mirror. But to do that, I needed someone who would not fall for her. I needed a person who could handle manipulation, someone who would not be flattered or scared, someone who could play the game without getting emotionally trapped. That was the hardest part. I did not know anyone like that. Then I remembered a friend from college named Alex Russo. Alex was the type of guy people notice the second he walks into a room. Tall, handsome, confident, and dramatic in the most entertaining way. In college, he studied theater and always acted like life was a stage. He was funny, bold, and he loved a good story. We lost touch after graduation, but we stayed connected online. I had seen posts about him coming out and living with his boyfriend Marcus. When I thought about it, Alex was perfect. He was attractive, so my mother would target him immediately. He was gay, so there would be zero real risk of him actually getting pulled away. And he had no patience for manipulative people. I messaged him and explained everything. I told him my mother flirts with my boyfriends, texts them, and sabotages my relationships. I told him I was exhausted. I told him I wanted to teach her a lesson. Alex replied fast and sounded excited. He basically said this sounded like the most fun he had in a long time and that Marcus would love hearing about it. We met for coffee the next weekend to plan. Sitting across from him, I felt something I had not felt in a while. Hope. Because Alex took the problem seriously, but he also treated it like something we could beat. Not something I just had to accept. He asked what my goal was. Did I want her to back off? Did I want revenge? Did I want to embarrass her? I told him I just wanted my real dating life back. I wanted her to stop. I wanted her to leave my relationships alone. Alex nodded and said he understood. He said the key would be to attract her attention but never give her the satisfaction of truly getting him. He said we needed to make her feel like she was in competition with me, because that is how her brain works. I hated how true that sounded. We built a backstory. Alex and I had reconnected through mutual friends. We had been dating for 2 months. Things were getting serious. He would act attentive but not clingy. Successful but not flashy. Respectful but not desperate. He would make it clear that he liked me, but he would also show that he had standards. Basically, he would be the kind of man my mother could not stand, because she could not easily control him. 2 weeks later, I brought Alex home for dinner. The second my mother opened the door, I knew we were in trouble. She was wearing a dress I had never seen before. Not a normal dinner dress. A look-at-me dress. A look-at-him dress. Her makeup was perfect. Her hair was styled like she planned it for hours. She saw Alex and her eyes changed. It was like she saw a prize. She introduced herself like a queen greeting a visitor. She extended her hand like she expected him to treat her like someone important. Alex smiled and did exactly what he needed to do. He complimented her. He used her name. He made her feel noticed without acting desperate. He said something about how beautiful she was, and I watched my mother almost melt on the spot. During dinner, Alex was incredible. He asked her about her modeling career. He listened to her stories like they were the most interesting stories in the world. He laughed at the right moments. He made her feel admired. He fed her ego carefully, like he was holding a glass object and did not want it to shatter. But he also included me constantly. He kept touching my hand. He brought the conversation back to me. He said kind things about me in a calm, confident way. My mother did not like that part. I could see it in the tiny shifts in her face. The way her smile would pause for half a second. The way her eyes would flick toward me like she was checking if I noticed. After dinner, while I was cleaning up, I could hear them talking in the living room. Alex asked about her workout routine and her skincare. He told her she looked younger than her age. My mother loved it. She was glowing. When Alex and I left that night, my mother hugged him goodbye and told him he was welcome anytime. In the car, I told Alex she liked him. Alex laughed and said she did more than like him. He said she was already planning an affair in her head. I wanted to laugh, but I also felt sick. Because it was my mother. Over the next few weeks, the plan worked almost too well. My mother started texting Alex within days. At first, the texts were innocent. She asked about his day. She sent articles. She suggested places. She acted like she was just being friendly. Alex showed me every message. He replied carefully. Friendly but not flirty. Interested but not chasing. He gave her enough attention to keep her hooked, but not enough to satisfy her. And the strangest part was how my mother started treating me. She was nicer when Alex was around. She stopped making small insults about my appearance or my job. She acted like she was listening to me. She smiled more. She even complimented me sometimes. It was not real kindness. It was performance. Alex explained it clearly. He said she wanted him to see her as a wonderful, supportive mother. She was acting like the perfect mom because she wanted him to see her as relationship material, like a woman who is caring and loving and safe. It was disturbing, but it also proved something important. She could behave better when she wanted to. She just usually did not want to. Then she escalated. She started finding excuses to show up at my apartment when she knew Alex might be there. She brought groceries I did not ask for. She said she was in the neighborhood. She brought little gifts for Alex. Always dressed perfectly, always ready to shine. Alex told me about one visit where she brought homemade cookies and stayed for 2 hours. She talked about how worried she was that I was not eating enough, how fragile I was, how she hoped Alex was taking good care of me. It was a way to make me look weak. It was also a way to make herself look like the hero. Alex told her he was taking very good care of me. He told me that answer frustrated her. I could feel the tension building like a balloon filling up. The breaking point came about 6 weeks into our fake relationship. My mother called me on a Tuesday afternoon crying. Real crying. Loud. Dramatic. Like something terrible happened. She told me she needed to tell me something. Then she said she thought she was falling in love with Alex. My whole body went cold. I asked what she was talking about. I told her she had only known him for weeks. She said sometimes that is all it takes. She said he understood her in a way most men did not. She said she did not want to hurt me, but she believed Alex might have feelings for her too. She said the way he looked at her, the things he said, it all felt like signs. Then she suggested something that made my stomach twist. She suggested that the three of us sit down and talk honestly about feelings like adults and figure out what was best for everyone. Best for everyone. As if my boyfriend leaving me for my mother could be a reasonable family discussion. As if my pain was just a detail. I hung up and stared at the wall for a long time. Then I called Alex and told him everything. I expected him to panic. Instead, he sounded thrilled. He said this was perfect. I told him it was nightmare territory. I told him she was losing her mind. Alex said no, this was exactly what we wanted. He said she was so obsessed with stealing my boyfriend that she was willing to blow up my relationship to get him, and now we could show her what it feels like. I did not like the energy in his voice. It was playful and sharp, like he had been waiting for this moment. He told me to set up the conversation at my place that weekend. I agreed because I felt trapped. I felt like I started something and I had to finish it. I also felt angry enough to stop caring about being nice. Saturday evening came. My mother arrived dressed like she was going to a red carpet. Tight black dress. Perfect hair. Full makeup. Expensive wine in her hand. Her whole body was buzzing with nervous excitement. Alex had come earlier so we could go over the plan. I still felt uneasy, but I trusted him more than I trusted my mother. We sat in the living room like a strange triangle. My mother kept glancing between us like she was trying to read the room. She finally said something like, I think we all know why we are here. Alex agreed and told her he appreciated her honesty. He said it takes courage to admit feelings. My mother lit up. Alex held my hand, which seemed to surprise her. Then he told her he needed to be honest too. My mother leaned forward, expecting a confession. Alex started by praising her. He called her beautiful, intelligent, sophisticated. He said any man would be lucky to have her attention. My mother looked like she was about to float. Then Alex said the truth. He told her he was completely in love with me. My mother's face changed. Alex kept going and said something that dropped the temperature in the room. He told her he was gay. My mother froze. Alex explained he had a boyfriend named Marcus, and they had been together for 3 years. He explained that Alex and I were pretending to date because I was tired of my mother sabotaging my real relationships. He said it calmly, like a teacher explaining a lesson. My mother looked back and forth between us, Like her mind was trying to build a new reality because her old one just broke. Then her embarrassment turned into rage. She called it a joke. She accused us of humiliating her. She acted like we were cruel and childish. Alex did not back down. He asked her directly if she believed it was normal to compete with her own daughter for male attention. He asked if she thought it was healthy to sabotage my relationships because she could not handle not being the center. My mother stood up like she could physically rise above the conversation. She said she did not have to listen to this. Alex said she did not, but maybe she should. Then she turned to me, and for the first time in years, I saw something in her eyes that looked like real hurt. She asked me how I could do that to her. And something in me snapped. I asked her how she could do what she had been doing to me for 6 years. I told her she flirted with my boyfriends, she texted them behind my back, she tried to make them feel guilty for choosing me, and she chased away every good man I ever tried to build something with. She denied it, of course. She said if those boys could not handle friendly attention from my mother, then they were not good enough for me anyway. Friendly attention. Alex laughed at that and brought up the truth. He said she asked him to meet for coffee multiple times. He said she sent photos from her yoga class. He said she told him she thought Emma and Alex were settling for each other. My mother tried to deny it, but Alex had the receipts. He showed the messages. That was when she fully lost control. She screamed. She threw the wine bottle against the wall. She called me ungrateful. She called Alex disgusting. She said she would never forgive us. Then she stormed out and slammed the door hard enough to make the whole apartment shake. After she left, Alex and I sat in silence. Finally, Alex said something like, "That went better than expected." I stared at him like he was insane. He said it would work. He said she would be too embarrassed to pull her usual routine again, because now she knew she could be exposed. I wanted to believe that. For about 3 weeks, my mother did not contact me at all. No calls. No texts. No surprise visits. It was the longest silence we had ever had since I moved out, and part of me hoped it meant something. I hoped she finally felt shame. I hoped she finally understood. But then the next stage arrived. Control the story. My Aunt Linda, my mother's sister, called me. She told me my mother had been staying with her since the fight, and she was telling everyone a completely different version of what happened. In my mother's version, I was the villain. She told people I brought home a gay man and pretended he was my boyfriend because I was jealous of the attention he was giving her. She told people I set it all up to embarrass her, because I could not stand that men found her attractive. She made herself the victim again. She even posted online about it, in that vague way people post when they want sympathy without naming names. Posts about family betrayal. About ungrateful children. About daughters who cannot handle their mothers being attractive. Posts designed to pull in comments like, "Stay strong, you did not deserve that, some kids are so cruel." People who did not know the truth supported her. Relatives started calling me to ask questions. Some believed me, but others sounded unsure. They wanted to stay neutral because staying neutral felt safer than admitting my mother was the problem. I cried again, not because I was shocked, but because it was so predictable. This was her main talent. If she could not control you directly, she would control how others saw you. She would poison the room around you so you would feel isolated. I called Alex and told him what was happening. He said something that annoyed me at first. He said she was doing the same thing she did with my boyfriends. She was controlling the narrative to make herself look like the victim. I told him I could not fight it. She was too good at it. Alex said maybe I did not have to fight it. He said let her play victim, but that would force her to live with the logic of her story. I did not fully understand until something surprising happened. My cousin Rachel called me and asked a question that cracked the whole thing open. She said, if Alex was gay and you knew it, why would your mother be embarrassed just from being friendly to him? It was a simple question, but it exposed the hole in my mother's story. Because if my mother truly did nothing wrong, then the revelation that Alex was gay would be harmless. It would be a funny misunderstanding. It would not be humiliating. The only reason it would be humiliating is if my mother had been acting in a way that was inappropriate. Other relatives started asking the same question. The more people thought about my mother's version, the less sense it made. Within a week, the family narrative started shifting. People started asking my mother what she did that made her so upset. She could not answer without revealing herself. That was the first real win I ever had against her. Not because she apologized. Not because she changed. But because her own lies trapped her. After that storm, I took a long break from dating. Then slowly I started again, but with new rules. I told myself I would be honest with men sooner. I would not hide the truth. I would not pretend my family was normal. Then I met James. James was a lawyer, and I met him through a friend at work. He was confident in a calm way, not loud, not insecure. He did not need to impress everyone. He just knew who he was. On our early dates, I told him about my mother. I told him about the flirting, the texting, the sabotage. I told him about the fake boyfriend plan with Alex. James did not look scared. He laughed and said it was either brilliant or insane. Then he said he liked it. He said it showed creativity and problem solving. That was the first time a man heard my story and did not treat it like a reason to run. James and I moved slowly. We built trust. We learned each other's habits. We talked a lot about boundaries, because by that point I had learned that love without boundaries is just pain with a pretty name. I did not introduce James to my mother for a long time. When I finally did, the dynamic was completely different. And my mother tried her routine, of course. The long hug. The bright smile. The personal questions. The vibe that said, let me see if I can pull you into my orbit. But James shut it down without even being rude. When my mother tried to make the interaction about her, James redirected it back to me. He would say things like, Emma talks about you, then turn and ask me questions. He would include me in every exchange. He would make it impossible for my mother to isolate him, because he kept building a wall made of attention aimed at me. It was not aggressive. It was not dramatic. It was steady. My mother looked frustrated, because her tricks were not working. After that, she did not try as hard with James. She still made comments sometimes. She still tried to control things in small ways. But the texting never became a big problem. The flirting never reached the level it used to reach. Years later, James and I got engaged. When we announced it, my mother said something cold like, well, I suppose he is acceptable, and then she added that we were young to be making such a big decision, even though we were adults. And still, she never admitted what she did to my past relationships. She never said sorry for the years she destroyed. In her mind, she was still the victim of my cruel prank with Alex. And in a strange way, that kept her on a leash. Because if she started flirting hard with James, if she crossed the same lines again, she would remind everyone that she was not innocent in the Alex situation. She would destroy her own victim story. So her narcissism forced her to behave better, just enough for me to have a normal relationship. Wedding planning brought its own chaos. My mother tried to take over. She pushed for bigger venues and more expensive choices, things that would look better for her, not for me. But James had opinions and he was not shy about them. He would politely say no, and he would stand by it. He did not let my mother pressure him, charm him, or guilt him. Watching that felt healing, because it showed me the truth. My mother's power was not magic. It only worked on people who let it work. The wedding itself was beautiful. My mother behaved, mostly. She still wore a dress that was a little too attention-grabbing for the mother of the bride, but I expected that. She even gave a speech that sounded sweet and appropriate, talking about being proud of me and happy for us. For a moment, I almost believed she changed. Then she caught my bouquet during the bouquet toss, announced she was next, and winked at James's unmarried brother. That was my mother in one moment. Charming, funny, and still unable to stop making everything about her. After the wedding, life got calmer. James and I built a steady relationship. We learned how to handle family situations as a team. We created boundaries and kept them. And then we had a daughter, Sophie. When Sophie was born, my mother became obsessed with being a grandmother. She babysat. She bought too many clothes. She posted constant photos online. She acted like Sophie was her new spotlight, her new audience. Sometimes I would catch my mother looking at James like she was still measuring him, still calculating, still wondering if she could pull attention if she tried. But then Sophie would laugh or reach for her, and my mother would be distracted again, because babies give attention in the purest way. They adore you without questioning your motives. Honestly, I started to think grandchildren might be the perfect distraction for a narcissistic mother. They get admiration. They get to feel important. They get to feel needed. And they do not have to compete with their adult daughter the same way. As for Alex, he stayed in my life too. He and Marcus got married later, and I was a bridesmaid. My mother came as my guest. The funniest part was that my mother spent the reception trying to set up Alex's single friends with women she knew, completely forgetting that it was a gay wedding. That is how her mind works. She rewrites reality to fit what she wants in the moment. She never fully learns. She only shifts. Looking back now, the fake boyfriend plan did not cure my mother. It did not turn her into a warm, healthy parent who respects me. What it did was change me. It showed me that I do not have to stay trapped in hopeless patterns. It showed me that I can protect myself. It showed me that sometimes you cannot fix a narcissistic parent by begging them to understand. They will twist everything to avoid shame. They will rewrite the story until they look innocent. But you can still build a good life. You can choose a partner who will not be pulled into the chaos. You can create boundaries strong enough to protect your relationship. You can stop letting your parent be the main character in your love life. My mother will probably always be narcissistic. She will probably always need attention. She will probably always struggle to see anyone else's feelings as equal to hers. But she cannot destroy my relationships anymore. Not because she finally became a better person. Because I became a stronger one.